All right, just a few more. Luis organized a raffle. His goal was to collect $1,210, but he collected $2,904. Go, Luis. What percent of his goal did he collect? So what percent? We know we're looking for a percent. And then it told us of his goal. His goal was 1,210. So what percent of 1210 is the 2,904 is what he got. So we're going to get a percent number bigger than 100. And that's okay. We get that sometimes. Because remember, we were like, dude, he collected way more. We should be getting a number bigger than 100. That like confirms he totally did do more. So is 2,904 of 1,210 what percent over 100? So we cross multiply divide. 2,904 times 100 divided by 1,210. 240. Go, Luis. 240% of his goal. So more than double his goal. Almost double and a half again. All right. In 2003, there were approximately 2 million students enrolled in online courses in the USA. Irony. By 2008, there was an increase of 130% in the number of students enrolled in online courses in the USA. All right. By 2008, how many more students were enrolled in online courses? Okay, so we had around 2 million, and then it's an increase by 130%. So the amount that we are increasing is 130% of 2 million. That is not what our final result total will be, though. So let me type what I'm saying. The increase is 130% of 2 million. You can either type 2 and think of million as a unit or type all the zeros. I'm going to type all the zeros just so we don't forget about that as a unit because it's really easy to forget it. So that's why here they're asking how many more students. They're not asking how many students. That's why down here they're saying how many students. We're going to have to total it up. But here it's just what's the increase? What's the how many more that we got? So the increase, our unknown, is the is. Let's flip that back to a real thing. X of 2 million, so 2,000,000 equals 130 over 100. All right, so we know we're going to get something bigger than 2 million. That's a lot. Well, not anymore, but you know, 2,000,000 times 130 divided by 100. 2,600,000. Or we could say 2.6 million and write the word million then. All right, so that's how many more students. Now, how many students? We take the how many more plus how many there were, and we add them. So this will be the 2 million plus the 2.6 million we just got, which gives us 4.6 million. And I mean, I graduated 2002 and we were like, Blackboard was the new hotness and pretty much the only hotness for online education systems. And Blackboard is basically the backbone original of Canvas. I don't know if it's actually the same company or not, but yeah, that's the predecessor or parent, if you will. I'm old. I literally watched the internet grow up. Ugh. Okay, now that you're done laughing. The table shows the number of grams of dietary fiber and sugar for a box of cereal from the Post Cereal Company. Woohoo! Probably Raisin Bran. Complete the table. So they're telling us dietary fiber, the amount per serving is 5 grams, and that 5 grams is 20% of the daily value. We don't know what the daily amount is, but we can figure it out. So I was just saying 5 is 20%, 20 over 100 of something. Now, if you remember 20% is a fifth, then if 5 is a fifth, 5 times 5, 25 is a total. So, or 500 divided by 20, 25. So 25 grams. Now we have, there's 12 grams per serving, and the daily amount recommended is only 30 grams of sugar. Welcome to America. Meaning 30 is way too low a number. We always go more than that. So 12 is what percent of 30? 40. 40%. All right. Not bad. Okay. That is all of these particular ones. On the next one, we're going to look at very particular kinds of percents like markup and taxes and how it applies. But a lot of it is going to come back to particularly what we were doing on 24, where we're going to have to calculate the percent of a number, and then we're going to have to add it back to the number to get the new total. So just keep that idea in mind.